The 1830s were a time of upheaval, factories rising, cities swelling, and new ideas racing across Europe. This era split Christianity. Some saw the rapid change as signs of biblical prophecy unfolding, while others embraced new philosophies and questioned literal interpretations. One group clung to the Bible as a roadmap for the future, convinced the end times were near. The other, influenced by continental thinkers, believed faith could evolve with reason and that Scripture held symbolic truths. This wasn't just academic, it was a passionate, public debate that filled churches and stirred anxieties. The clash, fervent premillenarians scanning for Christ's return versus theological liberals seeking moral lessons in Scripture. This fundamental disagreement would shape Christian belief for decades. The stage was set for a dramatic showdown, heart versus mind, prophecy versus progress. The outcome would challenge the very foundations of faith. At the heart of the prophetic movement was premillenarianism, the belief that Christ would return before 1,000 years. Two schools arrived at different conclusions. One, a reign of peace before the coming of Christ, and the other more accurate, the 1,000 years happening after the return of Jesus, where the saints would be in heaven and the earth dark and vacant, with Satan bound to the earth according to Revelations 20. Adherents read Revelation as a literal timeline, expecting worsening chaos before Christ's triumphant return. The upheavals of the era, from revolutions to wars, seemed to confirm their expectations. This belief created urgency. Christ's return could happen any moment, so believers spread the gospel with fervor. Charismatic preachers like Edward Irving drew crowds with vivid sermons about judgment and hope. In a world spinning out of control, the promise of divine order was deeply comforting. Premillenarianism offered certainty, a clear, literal interpretation of Scripture and a sense of divine control. For many, it was a spiritual anchor amid confusion. The message, no matter how dark things became, a glorious conclusion was guaranteed. This hope fueled a powerful movement. Meanwhile, a new current from Germany, liberal theology, challenged literalism. Friedrich Schleiermacher argued that faith was rooted in personal experience, not rigid doctrine. Scripture, he said wrongly, was a record of humanity's encounter with the divine, not a history textbook. Liberal thinkers saw biblical stories as allegories teaching moral truths, not literal events. This approach allowed faith to coexist with science and modern criticism. Samuel Taylor Coleridge brought these ideas to England, inspiring a generation of church leaders. Liberals sought spiritual truth through intuition and reason, not just tradition. The contrast was stark. Literalists awaited apocalypse, preparing believers for the events that would transpire before the coming of the Lord. Liberals aimed to build a better society inspired by Jesus' teachings and humanistic studies. They discounted historical and prophecy as a means of changing one's life and preparing for the coming of the Lord. For liberals, God was revealed through moral progress and human consciousness and scholastic studies. This set the stage for a deep conflict over the Bible's meaning and the Church's mission. The clash between premillenarianism and liberalism defined modern Christianity. It forced believers to ask, is the Bible literal prophecy or inspired moral guidance? Premillenarianism fueled evangelical and fundamentalist movements, emphasizing certainty and biblical inerrancy. Liberalism shaped mainline Protestantism, embracing critical scholarship and social justice. Both paths offered answers to a world in flux, one rooted in prophecy, the other in reason and progress. The debate created two enduring traditions, each grappling with faith in a changing world. Their answers still shape Christian thought today, the legacy of faith forever marked by the tension between ancient certainty and modern inquiry.